Whilst I am a bit late to the party this month, the developer stream by Visionary Realms has certainly been a cause for some interest. Following in a similar format to their previous stream, the team has provided us with some further class updates for those intending to try them out in future pre-alpha sessions, alongside a welcomed update from the design teams on new character models. As usual, I will be splitting the video up into the following sections: class updates, new character models and their designs, and outro and thoughts. Once again, I would like to mention that I am not affiliated with Visionary Realms and the game as a whole, but I am just a keen and interested fan on seeing how the game is developing. But with that being said, let's get into the first part of the video regarding the latest class updates. With the hallowed words of pre-alpha being mentioned, the team continued this class update with 3 more classes that are to be seen in the next pre-alpha session, that being of the Rogue, the Enchanter, and interestingly enough, the Cleric. This, as mentioned, will be the first time that the Cleric will see a formal or proper test session with the players, and will be a trial by fire for those interested, and no doubt a welcomed addition to party rosters. In a similar vein to my last video, the previews of the class updates are on screen now, and they give us an indication of the class identities and how they're being maintained. However, my primary interest in these class updates is the combination and synergy between the classes, and that of the skills that will tie the classes together in their unique identity. Starting off with everyone's favourite sneaky groupmate, the Rogue will now have some interesting additions to their skill set with the introduction of weapon techniques. Our first skill under the lens today is that of Skullcracker, a new weapon technique utilising crushing weapon types. This ability, apart from dealing modest damage, will also cause the target to enter a disorientated state for 8 seconds. It also shows an introduction to the locational effects for the Rogue, showing that if struck from behind, it would also deal the additional effect of a short-term stun. This allows rogues access to further tools of crowd control, which is great, especially for times where this skill may be saved for an emergency stun, or chaining together the ability with other classes. This additional CC, however, is not solely limited to weapon attacks. We also see with the ability Flash Bomb that rogues get, not only allowing them to slip back into a more advantageous position, but also debuffing the enemy as well. But speaking of debuffs, the Enchanter, everyone's favourite class of mystery and mind control, has also had its own highlights, which include the rebalancing of their control abilities. And what better idea and example of this is that of the Mesmerize spell. Now not only dealing with an increased cast time to avoid the spell being used as a snap react spell, it also now has an additional cost to maintain over time. However, the caveat to this is that the cost over time and the ability to be resisted is removed if the target is suffering from the disorientation state. This is a good example for where the synergy between the classes can be shown so far. A rogue utilising their Skullcracker ability can be followed up by an enchanter using the Mesmerize spell. That spell will now not only be irresistible, but it will not cost the enchanter any additional resources to maintain the spell. It is wonderful to see the classes already, in concept, working in more synergistic ways even before we step into the world of Terminus, which is a great thing for someone who loves group content like myself. And finally, for the class updates, we have our lovely frontline healer, the Cleric. However, despite the indications, our little Cleric definitely has some significant utility in their belts, even for elements outside of combat. The first spell to be looked at for the Cleric is that being of Invigorate, one which restores a portion of lost endurance to the target and then a endurance over a time recovery for a significantly long period of time. This endurance element will tie into such actions as sprinting and climbing and will no doubt be of great utility for those travelling the worlds of Terminus or scaling the interiors of the many vertical elements that will follow. It is a nice touch to see that classes are being given out of combat utility, and by ensuring that they aren't entirely combat focused, means that hopefully all classes will maintain some benefit in parties during exploration or otherwise out in the wider world. And finally, the last spell that I will look at today is the Tome of the Initiate, wherein the Cleric's ability to summon items will come into play. Whilst we can't dive into the depths of speculation as to what the Clerics might be able to summon in future, the utility of being able to restore mana to themselves is certainly a tantalizing image to finish off with. As always, the class updates are works in progress and will likely be changed subject to vigorous testing, but the information and design choices certainly bode well for any potential gameplay going forward, with the classes staying true to their motifs. But we will hopefully see these in action in later periods of development and see what remains and what doesn't. But hopefully one thing that will remain with us for a longer period of time will be the updated character models that were revealed as part of the stream. This was certainly helped by the delightful commentary of two of VR's newest members on the team. The stream had various clips that were shown throughout and should be on the back now of this video, and they show a remarkable progress in the current development of the models in question. Regretfully, the technical elements that were discussed in the section were a little beyond my comprehension at times, but the team were fantastic in answering significant questions about the development of these new models, which were answered in fairly simple terms. We do, however, see from the development of the human models, as shown throughout, the clear improvements between the old and new models are nothing to be snubbed at. In my opinion, and what is relayed as well further into the stream, is that the models definitely look more real, rather than the fantastical detailings given away to more natural shapes and features. Whilst I do not have a strong opinion overall regarding these changes, it is good to see the optimizations and the graphical fidelity is already increasing at a design stage, and should hopefully provide much needed confirmation that Pantheon's quote-unquote dated graphics is not a thing to stay for some naysayers. Of note also was their ethics regarding older models and that of races that haven't had their own model, and the implementation of pipelines designed to streamline their development process, as well as that of armor application. Specifically, as we should see on screen, the examples that were given of the armor design are greater explaining, even visually, the level of flexibility that they have been able to obtain by developing the certain tools and their abilities to properly implement their vision, and hopefully this should play into further development. So, to the two new members of the VR team, welcome to the community. It was great to have you on the stream and listen to you speak, and thank you for your thorough and lovely explanations on the updates regarding the character models and your development process. But coming to the end of this video, what were my thoughts away from this current stream? Well, much like the stream in August, the content provided by VR was once again something to fully dive into, especially when my favourite class was involved. The team have been able to concisely explain and update us all regarding the development of the game itself, and providing us with a physical update regarding some of the technical aspects, which is always something that we like to see. The class design notes as described in the stream, whilst likely changing in subsequent iterations and have the potential to be completely different at launch, are still giving us an important way to scrutinise the intentions of the designs, and especially when the developers give their own highlights as to how a class should feel. Coupled with the elements of synergistic combinations between the classes on a more intuitive level, we come to see that cooperation, timing, and a good knowledge of each other's skills will no doubt come into playing an important part of the Pantheon experience. But not only will you be able to journey out into the worlds of Terminus in the future with hopefully some shiny new abilities, but we may also look plenty pristine whilst doing so, given the current status of these new, in-development character models. I personally cannot wait for further reveals of character models in the future, especially that of the Darkmere, whom I have an unending patience for, so you better make them look good, Visionary Realms. And to that end, the stream was once again another wonderful explanation of the well-reasoned design process and unwavering determination that the VR team have for the game, and I cannot wait for more. Thank you for watching today's video. Have you enjoyed it? Please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel, as it will help out with the content I seek to make, and lets me know what you enjoy. Do you have any questions or discussions regarding this? Please feel free to answer them and leave them down below. But otherwise, take care, and I hope to see you again next time.